Welcome to the Performance Enhancing Podcast. It's like steroids for your brain. A podcast for people that want the best info, but just don't have the time. Get your podcast fix with the Cliff Notes versions of your favorite podcasts. No fluff, just the actionable golden nuggets. Having this much knowledge at your fingertips should be downright illegal. So get ready for another dose of Performance Enhancing Podcast with Satori Prime. Here's your host, Ilan Ferdman.
Oh, hello, everyone. Welcome to another Performance Enhancing Podcast with your host, Ilan Ferdman, and we've reached the top of the mountain. This is part 5 of our series on nootropics, an amazing hangout that I was privileged enough to have Dr. Beck, Jameson, Larry, myself, and my brother on, just really talking about how to enhance and use things that are available today that are supplement-based, not drugs, to actually help enhance your brain's productivity, your focus, your reaction times, memory, things of that nature. So in this final part, aside from just wrapping up and everyone sharing some great tips and advice, we're going to finalize our daily routines. So we're going to go into the rest of people's daily routines and even give you some nootropic stacks that have worked for us. And we're also going to show you how to get support while you're going through this, whether from myself, Jameson, Larry, or Dr. Beck. So enjoy the final part of this nootropic marathon, let's call it. And I hope you really garnered some value from this, because a lot of people have been sending me emails saying that they picked, paracetam up and they've tried L-theanine with caffeine and have gotten some stellar results. So again, just remember, these are really, really safe. This is not a push to get you to do drugs or something that's harmful for your body. Obviously, we have a doctor here that kept us in check the entire time. So again, if I can leave you with anything, especially if you haven't seen parts 1 through 4, is that these are really, really safe and a really, really amazing way to get a quick advantage in any area of business or whatever niche that you're in. All right. So enjoy part 5, and we'll see you on the next Performance Enhancing Podcast. So with that said, Jameson, hit us.
All right. So trying to think of the easiest way to break it down. It'd probably be I seek to eat 2 whole meals a day. I intermittent fast every day, which Larry does as well. So my eating window is only 8 hours, and I fast for 16 hours. Some weeks, once probably every 2-3 weeks, I'll do a 24-hour fast. So that's my baseline. The diet structure itself, in terms of like what I'm going for, is keto. So it's very low in starchy carbs, very high in fat, very high in vegetables, protein. My protein ratio is like 1-to-1 for 1 gram per 1 pound of body weight. So I'm around 200 grams per day of protein. All my protein sources come from grass-fed protein. So the whey protein I take, the egg protein is free range. Everything is as natural and organic as I can possibly get without having GMOs in it. So that's where I go for in terms of food, vegetables, supplements for my protein sources and whatnot. In terms of supplements, I do a multivitamin, and then I do additional magnesium. I still supplement those with capsules. I do Norwegian cod oil. I do MCT oil, grass-fed butter, and coconut oil as major fat sources besides the actual meat itself. I do men's optimal health type stuff, so fenugreek, I take tribulus and a few other things. Pre-workout, I do cordyceps as well, 3 different kinds, matak, cordyceps themselves, and reishi. I do that pre-workout to help with breathing. I do HMB for muscle recovery, which is actually something that most people don't do or know of. HMB, the reason why is because most studies were 5 to 8 grams, when in actuality it doesn't start working and activating until around like 10 to 15 grams. So it really helps cut down muscle recovery because I train 7 days a week, and most days I train twice a day. Like today, it's 3 o'clock, and I've already trained twice, one of the sessions being cardio and the other one being weight training. I proofread for a final time my book. I read 2 books this morning. So, this is all the shit that I just was able to get done before now. So in terms of my diet and nutrition, it has to support being an athlete, because I consider myself an athlete because of just how I train and what I do. And so the calories and the supplements that I take have to support that. So understand that as well going into this. Outside of that, I take creatine. I do massive amounts of branched chain amino acids and glutamine, probably anywhere between 30 to 60 grams a day. I drink the branched chain aminos during my fast itself. And I actually, because it's so hard to find a natural source of that without having artificial flavors or sucralose, I cut it with unflavored, which is disgusting, and I just really thin it out so that it actually cuts down on those things. But there's that, and then let's talk newts. So average day baseline is magnesium that I start with, and then adding on top of that, I usually do racetams, and then in the afternoon take something like an Alpha Brain or a Brain Stack if I need it to kind of bring me back up. So I told you before this webinar that I was going to give you the 3 different stacks that I take, and they are the following. The first stack is piracetam, aniracetam, and oxiracetam. Now you're going to have to take either alpha GPC or CDP cytocholine or some sort of choline source to go with that. The other one is pramiracetam, which is like 30 times stronger than piracetam itself. It's derived from piracetam, and I take that by itself with alpha GPC. I get a better effect off of alpha GPC than cytocholine. They're very similar in terms of what they provide result-wise. The delivery is a little bit different. So that's the second one. The third one I actually haven't written down because I've been doing so many micro tests lately that I just, some days I don't know. So the third one is atorafenol, Nupept, and pyretinol. Pyretinol is a derivative from B6, and so it acts a little bit differently in the brain. So again, like, there's a specific reason why I'm stacking these things. Some are for memory and learning, others are for maybe reaction time. Some actually have physical performance benefits as well. So like, that's really kind of why I'm doing those things. And then I gave you a very basic one earlier, which is just CellTep and MagTech, which is all made by naturalstacks.com. And that would be a very basic stack to start with, I would say. And that's it.
Awesome.
I think.
By the way, these things are god-awful. I would encapsulate them if you're going to play around, because if you mix them into, you know, fat source or water,
I just take them on the tongue.
You're crazy.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you this.
Not that bad.
Let me give you my morning routine. I take piracetam just in water with like multivitamin, which is like a green juice multivitamin, and then I just add like a few things like choline and omegas and stuff like that. When I first put piracetam in water, the first 3 days, I literally thought, like, the second it hit my tongue, I was gonna vomit on my window in the kitchen. It was that gross. It's like raw creatine times 100. It's that bad.
Yeah.
Surprisingly, though, 3 days later, the taste has gone from 100 down to maybe like 2. I hardly taste it anymore. So I don't know if your body gets used to it or the tongue gets used to it, but like, it doesn't even taste that bad anymore.
It's bitter, incredibly bitter.
It's bitter, but it's not terrible. So my morning routine, just to give you guys contrast, it is much simpler. I don't experiment with all the stuff that these guys do. For me, I drink bulletproof coffee in the morning, which is what these guys were talking about. Coffee with grass-fed butter, MCT oil. I throw a collagen protein in there, just to have something. I drink a little piracetam and water, take a few vitamins, and that holds me out. Then I'll do like a shake with BCAAs and stuff like that in the afternoon, do a workout, and then when I come back after the workout, about 30, 45 minutes after, I'll do another shake, but that one has 2 scoops, and I'll put different berries and bananas and peanut butter, a little more MCT, and usually with the first shake, I'll probably like depending on how I feel, I take like a half dose of what I took in the morning of paracetam. And then that's it. Like that's my nootropic regimen. It's worked incredibly well for me. I will say that after this call, I'm definitely going to experiment with some of these other things that these guys mentioned, because it really does sound amazing. What I actually didn't realize, and I'll be talking to Dr. Beck after this, is the complexity of the testing and how you then actually can track what it is that you're deficient in that actually enhances the uses of it. That was a big takeaway for me. And then the other takeaway is I didn't pay attention until you guys said it, that each one of them has its own field of focus. So like, reaction times and focus and memory and energy. I didn't kind of think like that's how you would piece these things together. So that was amazing. I can't wait to start experimenting more, is basically what I got left with.
Yeah, I know.
My routine trumps everybody's here. I wake up in the morning, I go like this. Then I go, I might have a glass of water. After that, I blow my nose and brush my teeth, and we're good to go. I'm just kidding. No, I mean, I've played around with some of this stuff too. I mean, but I want to give you guys the opposite side, because I actually thought that for me, like Bulletproof Coffee was like my first soiree into even thinking about this kind of stuff. And when I initially took it, and I'll tell you about my Rastime stuff really quick too, I actually liked it a lot for the first month I took it. Ilan's going to kill me for what I'm about to say, but it's fine. I actually have crazy adverse effects to it. I actually saw a lot of fat gain from it. MCT oil, turns out, gave me a lot of irritability. I'm not really sure if that's because I was taking it with the coffee and on an empty stomach every morning, but I mean, palpable difference to the point where like my girlfriend's like, it's me or the coffee. And no joke, I mean, I was noticeably that different, and it's taken me about 3 to 4 months to get even my body back to where I want it to be, because this stuff kind of snuck up on me, and then one day it all hit me at the same time. So again, to each their own, but I know a lot of people get amazing results from that stuff. As far as paracetam, which is really the only nootropic I played around with, my first month on it, I felt like man on fire, and then had really diminishing results from it. The next month, I barely even felt like I was taking anything. Didn't seem to matter how much I was taking. Like the good doctor said, in America, it's bigger is better. So you think if it's not working, why not just dose up and put some gasoline on this fire? And that didn't work at all either. So I have found, for me in general, too much of anything never works. It's like the old adage, just the extreme of anything doesn't work. And these days, I've just found cycling on and off everything I do seems to work a lot better. Same thing with exercise. If I do something for 2 or 3 weeks, might have really great results from it, and then suddenly it's like it fell off a cliff and I'm barely getting any results from it. So I found in general, I got to keep pace. My body really likes change all the time. It wants different things. It gets regulated very quickly, and that's just been my experience throughout my life. So those are my 2 cents.
Cool.
To the doctor.
Oh, man. Well, I had the fortunate fact that, and again, I say this, with all benevolence as I can muster. It's just I know my genome, and I know my biochemical pathways, and so I know what works for me and what doesn't work for me. Not to diminish anything that's been shared already. Again, it's you embrace yourself as a category of one, and you rock and roll it. So that more power to you. For me, I really love and have such an affinity for nature and looking at things from that particular point of view and how it manifests to it. It was here before us. It'll be here after us. I'm also a country boy from North Carolina, so we think swine is divine. But the thing is so I'm not a vegetarian or a vegan, but I definitely believe in eating, animals with correct respect and dignity and treatment for how they are. So I don't intermittent fast. That I would do 1 day a month where I actually, fast for an entire 24-hour period. But I eat when I'm hungry, and I stop when I'm full. I eat more plant-based. Every time I eat, you're going to see me have at least 2 cups of plants. My colleagues hate me for this, but I know my genetic predisposition to gluten, so I can actually have certain amounts of gluten, but I don't eat a lot of that kind of stuff throughout the day. So for me, I eat more plants than anything. But I love meat. I think animals just give us a tremendous benefit to us if they're grown and harvested with respect and dignity. So for me, my day though starts out in a Vitamix. So I'm a big fan. I make my own almond milk, so I soak and I do that, and then I have these little mason jars. We drink everything from our tea to our almond milk in mason jars where I come from. So it's a redneck shot glass. But so almond milk, and then I'll put in some berries. I always soak my chia seeds and things like that. I too love fat. I've been doing MCT and coconut oil since before it was cool and groovy. It's an old bodybuilder, and I come from a sports medicine, exercise, phys background back in when I went to Old Dominion for undergrad stuff and that. And so I put things in a blender there, whereas I like to put plants. I'm always going to put something green in there, all the way from kale to zucchini to avocado to spinach, because chlorophyll for the win, man. I'm like Iron Man. I wear palladium and I drink chlorophyll. Keeps me toxin free. So I put those kind of fun stuff in there. As far as supplementation is concerned, my nootropics are quite frankly, it's one of the reasons why I created Ilan Nutraceuticals. So my multivitamin foundation is unmatched by anything on the market. My fish oils of FX Omega, and then I do a superfood blend that's chlorella, spirulina, alfalfa grass, barley grass, wheatgrass, beet pollen, beetroot, spinach. So I take that, and then my transdermal magnesium. So just really those four things as far as supplementation goes with the blend that way. I'm always going to try to, I get outside, and when in the morning, my regimen is, I've been drinking yerba mate for as long as I can remember. Listen, coffee is good, and I will rock and roll some bean from time to time. The difference for me though is that I like mate because it's pound for pound. It has far more antioxidants, nutrients, minerals, and enzymatic cofactors than a roasted bean. Doesn't taste as good. I'll totally abdicate that. But when it comes to the minerals and the enzymes and the chlorophyll, and then of course all the other xanthine alkaloids other than caffeine, theophylline, theobromine, those kind of fun things, it's amazing. I mean, so for me, that's my go-to thing. So having an Oriental medicine background and martial arts and stuff like that, in Tibet, of course, they use yak oil and different fun stuff like that. So I've always added fat to my mate, or a coconut milk or something like that. And then I'm a big fan of essential oils. They've been around for thousands of years. It's biblical. I mean, there's just so much fun to essential oils. I think that's really missing from the nootropic community. So for me, that blended drink in the morning, my go-to beverage, of course, is mate, as mentioned. I eat probably 3-4 times a day, sometimes less. It just all depends. And I definitely, it depends when I'm living life at the speed of life, I will supplement on a whey protein in the absence of any of the neurotransmitter goofers when it comes to aspartame and sucralose. I really don't even like the sugared alcohols. I don't really have an affinity for sweets, so I don't have to have my stuff sweetened. Nature has a lot of stuff that's sweetened in there. Knowing that I know what my genetics are, I know how I methylate and not. I know what my genome tells me with that. So I really don't have to do a whole lot of those other things. And I actually do the unthinkable. I mean, I do consume some organic non-GMO grains and even legumes, regardless of all the hype and nonsense about lectins and that kind of fun stuff. So I eat all the stuff. I mean, when I'm in functional medicine groups, they all gasp because I'm not a follower when it comes to that fun stuff. So for me, if it's wholesome and it's the way that God and nature made it, I'll actually eat it. So nuts and seeds, berries, veggies, fruit, it's all on my table. So I'm a big fan of variety. I actually put myself through school. I was actually a chef for 10 years, so me and food really get along well. So I have that advantage, unfortunately. So, of course, my wife makes me cook all the time. So I have a variety of foods. That's the fun thing. The variety for me is in the food selection, not the routine. I'm pretty doggone routine. So I keep my cortisol levels, my blood sugar levels regulated. That keeps my mind working, pretty high operational state. And I rest, man. I go to sleep generally probably about It ranges anywhere from 11 o'clock to 2 o'clock in the morning, and then I wake up when my body wakes up. I don't have an alarm clock. Yep. So sometimes, for me, sometimes it's when the sun comes up, sometimes not. But I'm a huge fan of nutrifying the body, resting the body, and then working out wise. I do a variety of things, but I probably work out maybe twice a week, most of the time once a week. And I just don't do a lot of that physical performance because it really doesn't afford me anything. Being that I'm 42, married, and 2 daughters, I really don't have to be ripped anymore. But my body fat and metabolism's dead on, and so the thing for me is it's really about, that's why I call it the balance protocol. My life has a fluidity based upon what I'm exposed to when it comes to travel, other people, different things like that. I travel and I teach other doctors, and I have a preceptor program. So it really comes down to what my load is will determine where I supplement with other things like that. But as far as the some of the other famous nootropics and stuff like that, because I'm able to monitor my blood values and biomarkers, I don't have to supplement with all those kind of things. I eat enough natural sources of them and support my biopathways, and it's kind of self-lubricating. So yeah, pretty doggone boring.
Well, here, what I wanted to do this exercise because I think it's kind of where we started this conversation, which is it's so fundamentally down to the person what they're going to do and not do. And you heard 5 people on the panel with 5 completely different methods of getting to the same type of end result, right? Like what we're trying to do is live at our optimal self. And that's really what we're striving for. And I hope that people walk away today from having listened to this not overwhelmed or thinking like there's things that I need to do or don't need to do or anything, but just with a new awareness to what is available to you inside of this world. Like there's deep, deep rabbit holes that you can go down in these worlds. And what I will do is I will give you guys access to everyone here on the panel. You will have all the links on how to reach out to them. Some of these guys have podcasts and blogs, and you'll have Jameson's book, etc. But seriously, if this is something that you're looking to do, reach out to these guys. You'll be amazed at how willing people are to support and help you when you have made a conscious choice to make a difference in your life. Time and time again, I used to be afraid to reach out to people, and now it's like, if you have the real desire, people will be there to guide you. So, guys, I want to wrap this up. This has been absolutely mind-blowing to me. Like I said, I probably have about 6 pages of notes already, personally. So let's do this. Any final thoughts, Dr. Beck? Anything else that you want to, share with people, leave them with, and any final thoughts?
Well, I'll just say ditto to what you just said. It's okay to be centered in self as opposed to self-centered. That's totally fine. The other thing is that respect that bio-individuality. That's super, super important. My give back and the reason why I have this passion is because I want to educate, motivate, and inspire as many people as I possibly can. I'm blessed beyond measure, and I have nothing but a desire to give back and share what works for me and embrace people doing the same. I just have so much love to give, and I know that's a little unconventional, maybe a little fruity biscuits for a doc, but that's who I am, and the world needs more of that. So that's what you're going to get with working with me. It's what you learn after you know it all that counts. And my greatest teachers have been my patients, and so I warrant a lot of respect for that. If people do want to get a hold of me, that's the best way, and you'll have it in the show notes and fun stuff. Is DrAnthonyGBeck.com. I just launched a podcast, The Balance Protocol, and this is the kind of flavor and stuff, the things that we're going to talk about is bridging the gap between all of that stuff that's out there, and clearing out some of that noise and confusion. I've learned a lot from you guys today, and that's really cool. It's nice to be in just awesome company. I just get bumped because I'm a researcher and a clinician. I don't know how to, as far as a businessman, I'm pretty successful, but there's a lot I just don't know. I just don't have that out there. And I want people to know that this particular topic has a broad spectrum. We could really just talk so many other things. And matter of fact, I'm gonna put a plug in that we do this. We got to hang out. And the thing is when it comes down to it, take solid corrective action. That's what you got to do. I look forward to reading Jameson's book stuff too. That's pretty cool. I'm gonna have to opt in for that bad boy because I love patients and people that are in the trenches and applying stuff. So get a hold of me if people have questions. I'm very, very much approachable. I actually did put together a little discount code that people can go to my website and get a nice little monetary discount and some fun things like that, and my little nootropic package, get some money off there. But we'll include all that. I don't want to sound too commercially, but
you could drop it.
Well, it's one of those kind of things. It'll come around. But anyhow, it's Nootropics is the actual coupon code, and I'll give it's basically it's a $10 off kind of a deal.
Awesome.
When it comes down to it, you're supplementing, a healthful living, and that's where I really help people get into that kind of fun stuff. But
Awesome.
Nootropics for the win, man.
Nootropics for the win. Thank you so much. It was an absolute pleasure. It was great to just hear a completely different angle and get like a really scientific insight into this whole world. It was amazing. Thank you.
Yeah.
Bro, any final thoughts from you?
No, I mean, very educational. Like I said, for me, it's also really overwhelming to hear. There's a lot of scientific terminology, a lot of different things to remember. At the end of the day, for me in all my studies today, whether I understand it or not, and I don't understand this stuff at all, I'll be the first to admit it, what I'm glad for is a raise in my awareness around this kind of stuff so that I can look for solutions, right, to certain issues that I might have, whether they're focus-based or whether it's just stuff happening in the body. I'm always looking for how to solve specific problems, and this is an area of my life I wasn't even looking to solve these issues. I was just like, this is what I got, and that's what I got. So it really has opened up all that world for me, and I'd like to, I know Larry and Jameson really well, but even to the extent they shared today, I didn't even realize how much you guys are actually testing, so very eye-opening.
Yeah, amazing. Jameson.
Yeah, I would just like to add, because, from an outside perspective, I could see to where people would be like, holy shit, man, like, I don't even know how to spell half that stuff they talked about. How am I going to know how to do this and implement it? I started with knowing none of this. Like, I started reading blogs, I started reading, where to buy this stuff, and I just kind of started and went from there. The biggest thing is taking action. It doesn't always have to be perfect action. If this is an area in your life that you want to improve, just start doing something, because doing something is better than doing nothing. So you don't have to have all the T's crossed and I's dotted. You just get started. And that's the biggest thing, and you'll start to see gain. Because here I am 3 years later with, like, my life is just so different now. It's crazy to think about. Like, the book that you're going to get access to, most of it was written in, like, 2 days, through, like, a couple of, like, timed sessions of me working. Most stuff that I'm able to do on a daily basis just blows my freaking mind when I like reflect on it at the end of the day. So I'm a completely different person. Socially, I used to be awkward as hell. Like I said, I was labeled ADD. Like, it's just a different world that you're stepping into when you start to take action and accountability for these areas of your life that you want to improve. So I would just tell people to get started now versus waiting and trying to have everything perfect. And if you want to keep up with me and follow me outside of the book, you'll get that download link. But biohackedceo.com will get you my blog posts and all my social media stuff from there. But that's it. That's all I got.
Yeah, awesome. I just want to do a shameless plug for Jameson also, that as someone that follows you on Facebook, some of the most insightful posts I read throughout my day.
Oh, man, thanks. I appreciate that.
Yeah. My man Larry.
Yeah. So for me, this is a big game of know thyself, right? Whether it's spiritually, emotionally, physically, it's all about really understanding your biology and your emotional states. And a lot of us are so numb to that because of so much going on throughout our lives. So it's about bringing it back, and hopefully we created a bit of awareness about potential. So it's taking baby steps, and this is it's why I do what I do. And I've learned a ton, and I recently met Dr. Beck, and he's enlightened me, and I was going down this path of creating a biohacking program where, I take people down this path of understanding what biohacking is, taking some fundamentals, and then leading them to cognition and negative programming and other things. And I'm honored to have him in that piece now to help guide me, because God knows I need some guidance, from a scientific perspective, right? And and I know enough to know that I know very little, when it comes to this stuff, and testing and having expertise is the absolute key. So as far as lifestyle is concerned, I'll bring it back to sleep. If you aren't sleeping well, you're screwed. So I have a program called the Sleep Well Solution. You could take a free quiz if you go to sleepwellsolution.com, take a quiz, and I'll give you a sleep score, and then I'll invite you to get a CD, which is like $6, a hypnosis CD, and free shipping, and then I'll push you into a biohacking community that you get 30 days for free on. And within that, I invite you to take the journey onward to learning more about yourself, and along with other people that I have within the community, other experts that will help you upgrade yourself, your mind, your body, and get you playing at the highest game possible. So that's my goal for myself and for other people that that are following me and look into my work. So I want to thank you guys for putting this together and creating awareness about this incredible topic. I love you guys. Thank you.
Love you too, brother. So for those of you guys listening in the car or on YouTube or wherever you might be, if you didn't catch us live, we're going to release this also on the YouTube channel and also on our Performance Enhancing podcast. So if you head over after you listen to satoriprime.com/podcasts and look for this episode, we'll probably break this up because it's been about 2+ hours. We'll probably break it up into 3 parts so you don't have to listen to all this in one chunk. But all the resource guides, all of these guys' blogs, podcasts, books they've mentioned, like I said, I have 6 pages of notes. I will be listening back to this and getting more. All of those resources will be up there with the discount links and the books and all of that stuff. So don't crash off the road, and it'll all be there for you. And I love what Jameson said. There's really nothing to fear in testing this stuff. You're not putting something so crazily harmful in your body. So I don't want you to be overwhelmed or anything. Just try. Take that first step, and you'll see how that first step will lead you to the next one and the next one and the next one. And know that there's a community of like-minded people who are incredibly smart, who are now at your fingertips to basically ask the right questions and make sure you're doing quote-unquote the right things. Not that there's right or wrong, but that you're at least on the right path. So to Dr. Beck, Jameson, Larry, and my brother, a huge thank you. I know all your time is super, super valuable, and just sharing this information, I mean, for me, this has been massively, massively educational, and I'm assuming for the listeners, and we'll have replays of this, this will hopefully get pounded out into the airwaves and really start making some serious ripples in the world to let them know of what's available. So from the bottom of my heart, thank you guys. Love you all, and we should do this again sometime.
Thank you.
Thanks, brothers.
Bye, guys. Later.
See you guys.
Bye, everyone. And that, my friends, is the final wrap-up on the topic of nootropics. If you've enjoyed any parts of these, please head over to iTunes, leave us a rating and a comment. Let us know what you've taken from this information. Let us know how you plan on using this in your life and what results you plan on producing by using this. This, for me, was one of the most educational hangouts ever. Like I said on the training, I actually had about 6 pages of personal notes just for me. So make sure you check the resource guides and the action guides for all of the tools and websites and all of the recommendations that we've suggested here. They will all be there for you. Again, thank you for joining us, and we'll see you on the next Performance Enhancing Podcast. Have an amazing, amazing day, everyone.
Thank you for joining us on this week's Performance Enhancing Podcast. We've taken this pep talk and created a custom action guide so you know exactly what action steps to take now to grow your business. Just head over to satoriprime.com/podcast and download it for free. Also, please leave a comment and rate this podcast on iTunes. It'll help us get the word out. Thanks for listening. Now, go and implement. We'll see you next time.